Today, through the power of Jesus Christ and by His grace, we're going to be looking into some of the things I've been missing out on. The Pope's been going on a tirade. Papa Francis, another one of my guys. The Bishop of Texas recently just got fired from his job, the Bishop of Tyler, Texas, because he was questioning the Pope. But not only questioning him, saying that he was teaching heresy. If you're the Pope, you're going to let them talk trash to you? I'm saying off with his head, but he's got more mercy than me. This guy's been saying he's not the real Pope, calling him Bergoglio. I don't know who Bergoglio, I don't know who that is, but he's been calling him Bergoglio. If I was Pope, he would have been gone. I'm not calling for anybody's to be gone, but I'm just saying. That's just me. That's just me, because I'm just like that. We all know who Taylor Marshall is, right? Our guy. He's a Pope hater. That's what I've heard. To be honest, that's what I've heard. He doesn't like the Pope. He likes Bishop Strickland, the country cowboy bishop. The cowboy bishop. I'm the cowboy bishop now. Okay? You answer to me, partner. You answer to me and Pope Francis, partner. Ain't nobody getting their communion. Ain't nobody getting their confirmation. Ain't nobody getting nothing. We'll put Cowboy Bishop. The Cowboy Bishop will return, I'm sure. I'll pay for that one, I'm sure.
Strickland was removed from his diocese directly by Pope Francis after having been asked to please retire, and Bishop Strickland said, "I cannot retire. I cannot move away from my flock." And so Pope Francis brought down the hammer and removed him canonically. So he's still a bishop according to Catholic theology, but he is no longer the bishop of a diocese. And this is some interesting development. Bishop Strickland has appeared today in Baltimore at the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops conference that's held in Baltimore. And he was seen praying the rosary outside. Now, because he's no longer a bishop of a diocese, he can no longer vote in the assembly, but he is still a bishop, and I believe he can still participate. It would be really interesting if Bishop Strickland, here's what I think would be kind of cool. Bishop Strickland goes into I think it's a Marriott hotel. There's hundreds of Catholic bishops there from all over the country. And he's like, "What's going on? How's your prayer life? Good to see you." I think it'd be awesome if he just rolled in and acted like nothing's wrong by canning Bishop Strickland less than a week before, or about a week before, the United States Conference of Bishops sends a very strong message to the American bishops. And that message is, if you get a little too loud when it comes to a certain agenda, if you question the synod on synodality, you will be axed.
So far, Taylor Marshall is making a interesting comment about what exactly is the status of Strickland, because he's pretending like he doesn't know a couple things. When Taylor Marshall is out here saying, hey, the Bishop Strickland shouldn't have got fired because he criticized the synodality and the Latin Mass, basically. And it's like, well, actually, he's far from the only one who's done either of those things. Even the cardinals have questioned the synodality and the Latin Mass restrictions. So he knows it's not only that. So he's bearing like a false witness. He knows the truth, but he's not actually revealing it because he likes Bishop Strickland for other reasons. Probably because he does agree with him about the Latin Mass, and probably because he does agree with him on the synod. But he probably, I would imagine, Taylor Marshall doesn't agree that it's okay to say or even consider that the Pope is not actually the Pope, or that he's demonic like some other priests have been saying in the Catholic Church. So I don't think it's fair. It's a fair assessment that Taylor Marshall's making.
Some Catholic bishops, not all, but some, are, how shall we say, not forthcoming with bold statements. there. I was very measured and careful in how I said that. Some bishops in America are not forthcoming, bold, apostolic when it comes to the church's teaching on sexual morality, the church's teaching on marriage and matrimony.
Okay.
Bishop Strickland has always been very clear. He also, per capita, I think, has one of the highest seminarian rates for ordination. That's impressive. That's good. There are some of these, like Brooklyn, some of these places are going bankrupt. They don't have any vocations. They're openly ordaining homosexual men. They are openly baptizing babies who are both, I won't say parents because you have to have a man and a woman, but there's places like Miami with Archbishop Wensky in which the priests are told, if Adam and Eve and Jill, or Jill and Jane, who are in a legal, unnatural partnership, bring a baby to be baptized, you must baptize the baby, even though canon law says that the child, there must be good reason to believe the child will be brought up in the Catholic faith. All these things are out there, and if you challenge them, you will be axed. If you rape nuns, if you molest, if you embezzle money.
Okay. I did not expect it to go this far already. Because, like, I was, like, with him. I was like, okay, so you're trying to get, like, this idea that, of course, Bishop Strickland was a good bishop. He upheld many of these things that he's saying other liberal Catholic priests or bishops are not upholding. And I would ask Taylor Marshall, firstly, I want you to name some names. I think it's blown up. I don't think that there's all these transgender... I mean, what transgender person in the first place is becoming a Catholic? Let's be real honest. Why on earth, if you're so delusioned to the point that you're trying to cut your, whatever off, okay? Because that's literally what we're dealing with. That's the type of person you're talking about. You're saying that person, there's this huge issue, right? Huge issue where these people are trying to become Catholics. Oh my God, how could we have someone who's trying to be that's not happening everywhere. There's cases, maybe, I don't know, but I would love I would love Taylor Marshall to actually explain to us and be honest, who is allowing like all of these things where the parents are not following the faith and the baby gets baptized or any of that, okay? I just want specific cases so we can be informed. This being the case, that he's making a claim, push up Bishop Strickland and saying, it's okay, we can look past the questioning Pope authority, because he hasn't even mentioned it yet, right? We can look past that, and we can say, the thing he's actually doing is to make Strickland look good, he's making the church look bad. Because he's saying, well, other bishops are not upholding the same things that Strickland has, and they should be. Like I said, there's liberal Catholics. You can't be liberal and Catholic. I mean, that's ridiculous. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the faith and why this guy decided to basically infer that the Pope is not the Pope, say he's teaching heresy, and neither of those things are okay for a bishop to do, especially if they're being directly appointed by the Pope. Why would, again, the thing I said at the start of this, before I became the cowboy bishop and all that jokes and stuff, why would you, as the Pope, allow for people to be literally undermining you that are supposed to be your top guys? I mean, he's not a cardinal, but he's still a bishop. Why would you, as the Pope, as Mr. Catholic himself, right? The voice of Christ's Holy Spirit coming down on earth, why would you let somebody be like Judasing you, basically saying like, oh, well, you're not the Pope. You're false Pope. Why would you allow that? I don't care. Judas himself probably upheld the truth, was more against the gays and everything else more than anybody else. The thing is, he's betraying the actual nature of Catholicism. He's betraying the whole of Catholicism when he's undermining the Pope. And Taylor Marshall knows this. So he's about to go in to a whole other realm of just junk. Because now he's going to be saying, oh, well, priests and bishops can do this and they get away with it. And that's somehow in his mind going to be a reason. I mean, you're about to see it. I'm predicting it right now. That's going to be a reason that Strickland should be in. Because basically he's the less of two evils. But you're comparing two different types of crime. You're comparing crime that we know must be dealt with in a civil, or not a civil way, in a criminal way. And then you're dealing with crimes against the Catholic Church. So there's two different types of crime you're discussing. Two wrongs. And two wrongs don't make a right.
The message in America is that you will be promoted. Like Archbishop Cardinal McCarrick, who went to the very highest rank in the American Catholic Church, did everything immoral, was not known for standing for the truth, for the gospel, for the unique salvific power of Jesus Christ, the name above all names, the only name by which man might be saved, as we read in the book of Acts, that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. Those who do not teach that, and who teach this sort of vanilla, beige version of Catholicism, or maybe it's lavender version of Catholicism, that everybody goes to heaven, all religions are equal, there are lesser lights in other religions that are salvific, that aren't the light of Jesus Christ. This is all nonsense. These men are promoted.
Okay, so we're out of left field, as predicted. But I will say this. Taylor Marshall's right. Taylor Marshall is actually right. But Bishop Strickland is wrong. Because while it's the case, I mean, does he not realize that there's been abuses in the Catholic Church forever? And there's abuses in every church? But the guy he's talking about didn't become Pope, fortunately. And he never will be. Because that is a role that only the Holy Spirit can fill. And beyond that, it's just making me sad. Because it's totally true, but it's irrelevant. Taylor, let's work together, okay? Call me up. We'll call up the Pope together. We'll have a conference with them. Matt Pat from Game Theory could do it. I'm sure we can, okay? Because we're actually Catholics, right? We'll talk to him and say, hey, we got these issues with all these other bishops and all these other priests that are mishandling the faith and are genuinely bad, working in bad faith. Because I don't like it either. But all of this talk about, oh, well, pretending like everyone goes to heaven and all religions are equal, you're only saying this because what you're really trying to say is that the Pope believes all religions are equal and everyone gets to heaven, which is just not true at all. The Pope has never said anything like that. He said the opposite multiple times. Because he upholds all of the previous popes who have said this multiple times. Taylor Marshall needs to understand, or I think he does understand it, but I think he's just upset. And he doesn't want to, he can't see the forest for the trees on this one. The Catholic Church is the only hope for society. And that's because the Catholic Church is the only church that holds to Christian tradition from the time of Jesus to now. No other church does that. You could say the Orthodox, and they do a good job, but they kind of, they fell away from us. They broke away from us. We have the truth. We are the only church with the truth. The gay pastors everywhere with the LGBT flags, they're destroying Christianity. And the Pope Francis, he is the only one fighting against this liberal world order that's taking over everything. What I love about Pope Francis recently, he's not even in support of Israel. He called them out too. He said, ceasefire, let's bring peace. Y'all need to stop killing innocent people, innocent Palestinians, and innocent Jews, because that's what this liberal world order is that's going on. It's in support of Israel, and there's a huge problem with Catholics undermining our main guy who's fighting against these liberal Christians. Man, we're only 5 minutes in. Sorry.
Rector of seminary, so much. Bishop, archbishop, cardinal. And a big shame on Cardinal DiNardo in Houston, our own Cardinal in Texas. I'm personally very disappointed in his behavior in all of this. So I think Bishop, do you agree with me? I think Bishop Strickland should just roll into the Marriott.
Like and subscribe.
His name, Bishop Strickland, and then another Bishop of blank space, right? Just go to Tyler. The Catholics in Tyler love Bishop Strickland. Comments, questions. Let's hear from you.
Okay, but he didn't actually say anything. So everything I responded to, that's his opening statement, and the rest of this is comments and questions. Are you kidding me? Because that's ridiculous. Whatever. Let's see how he does.
We love our Bishop Strickland. Please pray for him.
He's probably going to say more. I think the Pope just needs to, honestly, he needs to have like a Stalin moment. And we need to purge a lot of these guys. Some of the good ones are going to go. Strickland, maybe he's one of the good ones. But everyone you're about to say, they need to go too. Like, we agree we need a purge.
And for us, I agree. Pray the rosary with Bishop Strickland. And if you can't make it to Baltimore at noon on Wednesday, wherever in the world, just get on your knees. Pull out the beads, the battering ram of the New Testament. Buddy Carr, will other bishops defend Bishop Strickland? This is what I have been ringing the bell on all week. Where are the other bishops right now who support or who are friends of Bishop Strickland? Is Bishop Strickland the only one? Where are the conservative bishops? Unless I'm mistaken, I have seen none since this has happened come out in support of Bishop Strickland. I have seen Bishop Schneider, Athanasius Schneider. I have seen Archbishop Vigano. I have seen Cardinal Mueller in support of Bishop Strickland. But in America, unless I'm wrong, I would love to be wrong. Please tell me, who are the bishops out there who are supporting Bishop Strickland?
Why would you support this guy? I get it. You know, I love the cowboy bishop idea. I think it's hilarious. And I don't think he's a bad guy or anything. But if you're going to play with fire, you're going to get burned.
You have to cite the crime of Bishop Strickland. There's no crime that's been cited here. So it's really, you know, it's kind of like Caiaphas and Anna. No real crime. They got to find a crime, but they can't find a crime. Take him before Pilate.
I think Taylor Marshall is... I think he's fully brainwashed, actually. This guy's getting taken from his bishop position, which is not a... It's not a right. It's a privilege. And he's saying you're being like, basically, you're Jesus. Basically, he's Jesus being crucified. It's the same thing. Or it's comparable. Ridiculous.
What did Bishop Strickland do that was so egregious? I really think it was the tweet in which Bishop Strickland talked about Pope Francis undermining the deposit of faith. I think that was the zinger. There's a lot of other things out there that have to do with, you know, pharmaceutical injections and conscience and the synod on synodality and all these other things. But I really think that pricked Pope Francis, Bergoglio, and I think he said, you know what? That's it.
He calls him Bergoglio. We just caught him, guys. He doesn't think he's the Pope. Taylor Marshall doesn't think he's Pope. He's calling him Bergoglio. Oh, Jesus, help us. Lord Christ. The biggest Catholic channel in the world doesn't know what he doesn't know what he's talking about. 7,000 souls. Oh, I just clicked the end. Oops. Oopsie daisy. He was fired from his job Friday at 61. I wonder if he did anything to deserve it too. Sorry. No, but for real, what is going on? Like, why are people... I'm a Tyler Cat. Hold on. Okay. G-Man from Texas, man. Hallelujah and howdy. I'm here in Texas, too. Let me just read your comment real quick. I'm a Tyler Catholic. Know Bishop Strickland personally. He walks the walk. Everyone here loves him. Such a wonderful bishop. Pray for him. The people stand with Bishop Strickland. These people are... The people stand with Strickland. We want Barnabas. We want Barnabas. The people stand with Barnabas. You want to compare him to Jesus? I think he's more like Barnabas. I think he's more like Barnabas.
No real crime. They got to find a crime, but they can't find a crime. Bishop Strickland talked about Pope Francis undermining the deposit
Positive faith.
I think that.
So yeah, I think that might have been what pushed it over the edge. Like, yeah, he's undermining the faith. What other bishop is saying that? Many priests are saying that, and guess what's happening to them? They're out. Why does this guy think he's bulletproof?
That's it. That's it. And that's the message to all the bishops in the U.S. and throughout the world. If you do what Bishop Strickland did, you too will find yourself outside the club.
As they should be. This guy doesn't think that the Pope is the Pope.
Strickland.
Where do you think Strickland lies? Like, should Strickland be Pope, is what you're saying? Who's the replacement, and why on earth do you think that you'd be the one who would know best? And not the one that was literally ordained by God. While another Pope was still around. So, I don't feel like you can not accept this papacy unless you're totally going back to one of these Vatican II like deniers. JP2 is not a saint. Benedict is fake. Like, all of them did stuff that is wrong. You knew this was coming.
Pope splainers trying to score points.
He's got to go work
lies.
at McDonald's now.
The man is not a Protestant.
Sucks.
I'm not a Protestant.
We know he's
saying that you shouldn't
Protestant.
bless LGBT people, or that a godfather can't wear a miniskirt and heels to a baptism, is not Protestantism. It's Catholicism. Straight up Catholicism.
True.
Here's another thing about these Pope splainers.
But the Pope splainers aren't saying that.
I've noticed that the Pope splainers have one or more attributes.
Let's hear them.
Clusters, personality traits.
What's my personality?
And I shared those on Twitter today. I'm just going to pull up the tweet because it reveals a lot. Here's what I've noticed about people who are Pope Francis is the best Pope, or Pope Francis no matter what, or Pope Francis is always right. Or if you just listened, you would understand Pope Francis. Number one, these people I've noticed that I've met in real life are often in irregular marriages or have a history of irregular marriages. And they have doubts about the so-called ideal of traditional matrimony. They'll say, oh yeah, marriage is a sacrament, one man, one woman. That's the ideal. But down here on earth in the dusty areas, you know, things are a little sloppy and messy. That's not Catholic.
What? What is he talking about?
It is a little complicated.
Okay. Wow. So this is like a straw. What even is this? This is like a... he's attacking people who support the Pope and saying that they have bad ideas of marriage. I have a great idea of marriage. It's a man and a woman, and anything else you gotta... How about that? That's my position. Taylor. Taylor's a girl's name.
People in real life who are Pope Francis no matter what. They are people with same-sex attractions or have children who are struggling with same-sex attraction. Now, that in itself is not sinful. But when you take that as your identity and you go to pride masses and pride parades and you wear the pride gear and you don't want to restrict sexual activity to holy matrimony between a man and a woman, that's wrong too. But they see that there's some wiggle room in the Synod of Synodality on this, and so they're rah, rah, rah.
There's no wiggle room. Anybody who's a Catholic who likes boys and they're a boy, guess what? Go to confession right now, or I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. Taylor, why are you talking to these gay people? Gay Catholics. Why are you talking to gay Catholics who like the Pope? Why are gay Catholics liking the Pope? They're probably just as misinformed as you are. The Pope doesn't accept gay marriage or even gay blessings. You know this. They should put me as a Pope, really, because then I'd talk to Taylor. You know, his mini skirt, and I don't know what baptism he's going to, where the Godfather's got the mini skirt and the high heels. But, you know, invite me to that baptism. We'll see how it goes. Invite me to the baptism. Just invite me. I'm not the Pope, but invite me. Or invite the Pope. Let's take the Pope and go to the transgender baptism with the Pope. And let's see what he says. We can have the Pope do the baptism, and let's see how he reacts. And if you believe that Francis, my boy, is going to baptize somebody who's coming to the church and is a boy wearing a shirt, a mini skirt and high heels, he'd probably have a heart attack, honestly, because he's from South America and he's never seen anything like that.
Even that one archbishop in India, there's photos of him bowing down to Ganesh, the elephant god in India.
The elephant god has stopped my camera from working. Ugh. Elephant god. There is no elephant god, Taylor.
What I said is not complicated. What I said is Catechism 101. It is Baltimore Catechism. Every Catholic should roll that off in 1 minute. And yet, when was the last time you heard of it?
You aligned. Fatego bang, took a tang. Boom tang tang, toon tang, tig a lig it. Fire the bang bang on a dig it. Webble up, beckle tang tang on a dig it. Heckle up, bang bang on a bug it. Webble up, tang tang on a pepper. Heckle up, bang bang on a whipper.
Or cardinal or local monsignor or deacon say that. Many of us have, because we're in very solid parishes. But for a lot of people, they'll say, wow, that basic all or nothing Catholicism, I haven't heard that.
God bless you all. Bishop Strickland, Taylor Marshall. The cowboy Catholics are coming back in a big way, but we're not going to allow for these outlaw Catholics. These are outlaw Catholics. That's what they are. I hate to say it.